It's important to study history so that you don't get complacent about your own time, so that you realize that some of the issues and some of the issues that you're facing have been presenting themselves to people your age earlier on in time with different ways of dealing with them, of course, slightly different choices, but in many cases the same issues. So a lot of what we're facing today is not new, and it helps you be aware of the complexity of society, of culture, of issues of citizenship, of choices, and those are reasons why studying history is important, apart from being fun.
Welcome to Thoughts Camera Action. Now, a question that I'm often asked is, how did Edom and Japheth become one and the same? This video is going to look at the sons of Japheth and show you where they interlink and become interwoven according to some historical resources. I hope you find it interesting, and as always, provoking thought.
The sons of Japheth, Gomer and Magog and Madai and Javan and Tubal and Meshech and Tyrus. And the sons of Javan, Elisha and Tarshish, Kittim and Dodanim. By these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands, every one after his tongue, after their families in their nations.
The entry in Haston's Dictionary of the Bible under Javan has the following. Javan, in fact, is the Greek Ionian, and its position shows it must mean Cyprus. The book of Jasher further states, and the children of Javan are the Javanim, who dwelt in the land of Macedonia, i.e. the Macedonians, from whom arose Alexander the Great. And the children of Eliashah are the Alamin, and they also went and built themselves cities. Those are the cities situate between the mountain of Job and Shibasham, and of them were the people of the Lombardy, who dwelt opposite the mountain of Job and Shibasham, and they conquered the land of Italia and remained there unto this day. And the children of Chittim are the Romim, who dwell in the valley of Canopia by the river Tiberi. The Romans near the river Tiber are thus said to be the descendants of Kittim. In chapter 60 of Jasher, the island of Sardinia is also associated with Kittim or Chittim. Who is Elisha? Of the three sons of Javan, also the son of Japhet, Elias gave name to the Elishans, who were his subjects. They are now the Aeolians. Pharsus to the Phoracians, for so was Cilicia of old called, the sign of which is this, that the noblest city they have, and the metropolis also, is Tarsus, the Tau being by change put for the Theta. Symphimus possessed the island of Symphemia. It is now called Cyprus, and from that it is that all islands and the greatest part of the sea coast are named Scythium by the Hebrews, and one city there is in Cyprus that has been able to preserve its domination. It has been called Citius by those who use the language of the Greeks, and has not by the use of that dialect escaped the name Citium.
Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. These are the sons of Esau, who is Edom, and these are their dukes.
The book of Jasher says that the children of Chittim ruled over the Edomites, and the children of Chittim ruled over Edom, and Edom became under the hand of the children of Chittim and became one kingdom from that day. The Japhetic king Latinus ruled over Britain and Kernania, which was a province around the area of France, and the children of Elisha, the Greeks. Further in Jasher 61:23-25, it said that while Sepho was the king of Kittim, and after having defeated the troops of Africa, he led his people so that they made war with Tubal and the islands, and they subdued them. And when they returned from the battle, they renewed his government for him, and they built for him a very large palace for his royal habitation and seat, and they made a large throne for him. And Sepho reigned over the whole land of Shittim and over the land of Italia 50 years. And during his reign he brought forth an army, and he went and fought against the inhabitants of Britannia and Kernania, the children of Elisha the son of Javon, and he prevailed over them and made them tributary. He even heard that Edom had revolted from under the hands of Chittim, and Latinus went to them and smote them and subdued them and placed them under the hand of the children of Chittim, and Edom became one kingdom with the children of Chittim all the days. If Jasher is historically accurate, then the Kittim actually ruled the Edomites for a time. Latinus, presumably the progenitor of the tribe of the Latins in Italy, although the Italic people in the Peninsula were thought to be descendants of Tubal, as noted by the historian Nennius. In his historical and partly genealogical work Historia Britannium, Nennius puts names to individuals and the tribes they founded. Elanius is said by him to have been the first man into Europe after the flood, and to have been only generations removed from the patriarch Javan or Joham. The first man that dwelt in Europe was Alanus, with his three sons Hisakon, Armenian, and Nugio. Hisakon had four sons, Francus, Ramonius, Amunus, and Brutus. Armenian had five sons, Gothus, Vavalagothus, Sabedius, Burgundus, and Logobarbadus. Nigio had three sons, Vandalus, Saxo, and Bolganus. From Hiscion arose four nations, the Franks, the Latins, the Germans, and Britons. From Armenian arose five nations, the Gothi, Valagothi, Sibidi, Burgundy, and the Longobardi. From Nuigio arose four nations, the Bulgari, the Vandali, the Saxones, and the Tarinci. The whole of Europe was subdivided into these tribes according to the historian Nennius. So in a brief summary, we've seen the progenitors of the sons of Japheth, Javon, Chittim, Elisha, and seen where their posterity migrated to and who they later became. According to the book of Jasher, we also see how the sons of Japheth overcame the sons of Edom and consolidated the two empires into one under the occupation of Chittim, which we know now to be Rome. This next clip from Redirected Ministries will tie up the loose ends of this presentation, and I hope that you've seen where things fit in and where pieces fall into place from a historical perspective. I mean, because we will say who Ishmael is today and we'll say he's the Arab. We'll say who Ham is today and we'll say he's the African. But then there's a lot of ambiguity when it comes to who Shem really is and where other nations fit into the historical record according to the Bible. So I hope this makes sense from the historical perspective. I hope you've been blessed to be a blessing and to bless others. So I'm going to make this clip play and it's going to tie up all the loose ends.
The original biblical manuscripts were not written in English. Of them, the most popular were the Septuagint, which was written in Greek, Peshitta, which was written in Middle Aramaic, the Textus Receptus, written in Greek, and the Vulgate, which was written in Latin. The Septuagint is a pre-Christian translation of the Hebrew Bible, and some related texts into Koine Greek. The Greek manuscripts are called the Codex Vaticanus and Codex Sinaiticus. Fragments are dated around the end of the 2nd century, and complete scripts are dated around the 4th century. The King James Version of the Bible was not translated from the Septuagint, but from the Textus Receptus. Why is this important to know? If you research Rome or Romans, you will notice that it is not recorded in the Old Testament at all, but you will find it in the Apocrypha, which was removed out of the 1611 King James Bible. You can also find the word Romans in the book of Daniel of the Septuagint. Were they deliberately trying to hide who the Romans are? In the Septuagint, the book of Daniel 11:30 translates the occurrence of Kittim in as Romans. Maccabees 1:1 states that Alexander the Great, the Macedonian, had come from the land of Kittim, or the land of the Romans. Jasher 10:16, and the children of Chittim are the Romans, who dwell in the valley of Canopia by the river Tiber.
There's a reason why the books were removed out of the Bible or not included in the scriptures. The Bible mentions the book of Jasher, yet when you pan through the pages, there's no book of Jasher in the Bible. There were more than 100 books not included in the Bible, and I wonder why.
There is estimated to be about 100 books that have been either removed or not included in the Bible. The Catholics even debated on whether or not to remove the book of Revelation out of the Bible. Louis Ginzberg, in his book titled Legends of the Jews, writes, "They, Esau and Jacob, will never be in the same estate. Esau will vaunt lords, while Jacob will have kings. They, Israel and Rome, are the two nations destined to be hated by all the world. One will exceed the other in strength. First, Esau will subjugate the whole world."
This is a white man's world. The white man from Europe dominates the whole planet. White men goes into any country and kill everybody, take over anything they want. This is a white man's country. It's a white man's world.
But in the end, Jacob will rule over all. Legends, Volume 1, page 314. Ginzberg further relates that God will call out to the Messiah, roar at this monster that devours the fat of the nations, that justifies its claims for recognition through being a descendant of Abraham by his grandson Esau, the nation that kept Israel back from the study of the Torah, and tempted them to deeds that are in accord with the wishes of Satan. Legends, Volume 3, page 167. Don Isaac Abarbanel, 1437-1508, a wealthy Jewish statesman and philosopher, believed that a tradition existed that many of the early Christians were Edomites. Ernest L. Martin, an author, historian, theologian, and meteorologist, in a book titled The People That History Forgot, claimed that most of the Edomites from Edom and many from Tyre went to the west to Italy and other places, where they became Christian. His book says that the Edomites migrated in masses to western regions of the Roman Empire. They became Christian but retained something of their previous practices and influenced early Christianity with their pagan traditions. Esau, like Jacob, was a mighty man of renown in ancient times. He was an explorer and wanderer, as well as a mighty hunter. He and his descendants, the Edomites, also founded or were part of the founding of such ancient world empires as that of Rome, Troy, Tyre, and Carthage, Italy, as well as Spain and the Ottoman Empire. In fact, the Book of Jasher contains the following pertinent information. And the children of Chittim continued their pursuit of Edom, and they smote them with a great slaughter, and Edom became subject to the children of Chittim. And the children of Chittim ruled over Edom, and Edom became under the hand of the children of Chittim, and became one kingdom from that day. And from that time they could no more lift up their heads, and their kingdom became one with the children of Chittim.
This is one very important passage, and may be the reason why the book of Jasher was not included in the Bible. It reveals the history of Esau or Edom, and that the children of Chittim are the Romans. Edom became subject to the children of Chittim, and they became one kingdom from that day. Edom's kingdom became one with the children of Chittim, the Romans.
Thank you for watching Thoughts Camera Action. Before you go anywhere, don't forget to click subscribe.